Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Abby. I own a shop called Sunflower&Owl. I crochet, I knit, I sew a little bit. But I am here to do a what I made this week video. I have what is hopefully a big successful market tomorrow. It is a street festival sponsored by a local brewery. I have found that when the parents are drinking, they tend to open up their wallets a little bit more for the kids. So I just really hope this is a good market. And I'm excited to show you what I made to prep for it. So, I had a market last Sunday that was a giant bust. I think I sold $48. I think I sold a bag, a loaf cat, and a tiny little turtle that I had just made the night before. And that was it. This market is free to set up, and I do set up there most Sundays, so even on the days where I do only earn $40 or $50, it's still $40 or $50 more than I would have earned if I was just sitting at home. And I can get a lot of whips done when I'm out there, but it was particularly slow last week. But hopefully I'll be able to catch up this weekend. It did pay $40 for this one, which seems like a really low fee. So I don't think I'm not worried about making back my fee for this one tomorrow. So let me jump right into it. And like I said, I had a market last Sunday, and I have also picked up some gig work. And I was on a Zoom call at the end of the week before, and I was told, like, okay, we're going to send some instructions over for you on Friday at the very latest on Monday, and I saw the email come in, and I was like, no. He said Friday, maybe Monday, so I'm let me just focus on this market. And then I opened up my email on Monday, and it was like, hey, here's some instructions, and if we could have this done today. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So Monday was busy. I was at my computer until about 7 o'clock at night. I got an early start and probably spent like 12 hours on what should have been like maybe several days worth of work, but I did it. I turned it in, and I've since gotten paid for it. But I did very little crocheting on Monday. I got started on a granny square bucket hat, and I had only gotten through 2 squares. So the next night I got through 2 more squares and the top, and I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'm gonna show it to you. I just love it. It is bright, it is vibrant. It's really more for an attention getter at my market than, I would be thrilled if somebody bought it. I think I'm gonna put $40 on it, which, I did, tags right there. Really more of an attention getter because I had made some bandanas and headbands and scrunchies for a market that I did 2 weeks ago, and I haven't sold any of them. They're just like, people aren't even noticing. And I did make a mannequin head. I crocheted a mannequin head. It is in the car. I've already packed up for tomorrow. If you're gonna look at my Instagram, I did post a reel the other day with this hat on the mannequin head. Hopefully, if I will make a what I sold at my market video early next week. And so hopefully you'll be able to see this hat on the mannequin head. Now, let me tell you about this. This is a free pattern on Ribbler, and I will put the link in the description box. And so it is 4 of these granny squares, and then a granny circle, and then the brim. So I had made the 4 squares and the brim. Now you can see here, like, there are a lot of clusters in this first round. Let me show you right there. I think it's 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the second round is 2 clusters in the chain spaces, and then the third is squaring the circle. And then the 4th round is just a single crochet around. These were very ruffly when I was making them, and I was a little bit concerned. I'm like, how in the world is this going to be a hat? And I measured it, and I have a really small head, but I did measure that these were 4 inches across, and then I measured 5 inches, 5 times 4. these were 5 inches across, and I measured my head at where I would want the hat to sit, and that was 20 inches. And of course, it's going to have a lot of stretch. It's granny square. So I was pleased with that, but I was really worried about how ruffly the squares were. So, confession time, guys. I am a very lazy blocker, and when I do block, I tend to just like put it under the bathroom or kitchen tap and squeeze it out and then pin it to the blocking board. But I was genuinely concerned about getting these to lay flat, so I did like the real. I didn't have any wool wash, but I just used like my hand soap, and I put the granny squares and the circle in the sink and soaked it for 20 minutes, and then I actually did the like towel and roll it and put it on the blocking board. Guys, why have I waited that long to do that? Because I understand that relaxes the fibers, but wow, did it just pin beautifully onto the board. And the rolling in the towel, it also dried a lot faster than if I were to just like stick it under the tap and wring it. Like sometimes that takes several days to dry. So I was happy with that, and then I didn't do the math. So here's what's happened. All right, now the crochet police might be coming for me after I confess this. All right, so when I join granny squares, I don't count that chain space in the corner. And if I'm supposed to, call the crochet police and they can come and arrest me, but I usually just leave that unworked. So I counted 18 stitches across. And then I did the circle, and this circle, oh, it's dark so you can't really see it, but I followed the directions, not really like processing what was going on. But this is 32 clusters around. And the cluster is, 3 double crochets and then the 2 chain spaces in between. Now 32 times the chain spaces times 4, when this was only 18, the math wasn't even close to mathing. And I was a little bit concerned because I was like, wow, this top is a little bit big. And again, call the crochet police. So what I ended up doing was, with the pink, I went around again, and so in the granny cluster, I figured out the math to get 18 times 4, because of the 4 squares around. I could do a single crochet in the first and the third stitch of each cluster, and then one at the beginning and the end. Okay, so I divided the 32 because I was in 4 sections. 8 times 4 is 32. I divided this into 4 sections, so there were 8 clusters. And then I had to figure out, so I skipped a whole bunch of stitches to go around so that the math would math and I would be able to attach the squares to the top. I made it work. And the only thing, it's given a little top hat instead of bucket hat. And I think what I'm gonna do next time is, I had put the right sides together to join. Here too, I think these are just sticking out, and then here as well. I think if I had put the wrong sides together, this would be a little bit flatter and more bucket shape and less top hat, but I still love it. I really do. And then so you do the 4 granny squares, you do the top, you attach the 4 granny squares, you figure out the math, because the math, maybe, it's probably me. But 32 clusters with only 4 granny squares with 18 stitches on each side. It maybe it works for you. The math did not math for me. But I did the top, and then you assemble the top and the sides, and then you crochet on the brim, and it's granny clusters. I love it. I am gonna make more, but now I know how to do the math. I love these colors. This is really, like I said, this is an attention getter for my booth. I would be thrilled if somebody buys it, but if this brings people over and sees that, and I'm just like, hey guys, I have these headbands and bandanas and scrunchies that I sewed. They're not great, but as scrunchy as they are, maybe you can't really tell. But I have not sold any of them, and they have now been to 2 markets with me, which was a little bit of a disappointment because I was really excited about those bandanas. So this was the first thing that I started this week, and well, yeah, one of the very few things that sold at my prior market the week before was a little tiny, like itty bitty, strawberry turtle, and I had made a strawberry one and a blueberry one. They were very, very quick, like a 20-minute make, and it was just bobble stitches for the feet, and I mean, it was okay. For a 20-minute, $8 make, sure, but it wasn't necessarily like showing off what I can do. And I really just wanted to like push my skill level this week, so I thought, I had fun making those fruit turtles, and I wanted to make some more, and this is also a free pattern. Everything I did this week's a free pattern on Ribbler, and I will put those links in the description box, like I said. I wanted to make some more fruit turtles, and I just love this one. This pattern is great. I found no mistakes, and you do the shell and the belly, and then you sew on the head and neck, you sew on the feet, and then you sew on the tail, which I really didn't mind because I think it just looks so much nicer. And I can definitely tell that my skills are getting stronger because they, when I set it on my desk, all 4 feet touch the surface. And, like when I was learning how to do amigurumi, that was not necessarily always true. Like I would have like little wobbly plushies, but I mean, I think a lot of it is that this was a really fantastic pattern, and I did just the plain safety eyes, and I embroidered a little smile. It's a little bit awkward because it's like right into the magic circle right there, but I still love him. So this is Mr. Orange, and when I finished Mr. Orange, I made Miss Lime. Love her. So I got Mr. Orange and Miss Lime, and then I also have I have Teenage Son Lemon because he's got lemon face, because he's a lemon, and he is also a little bit smaller than Mom and Dad, so he is Surly Teenage Son Lemon. It was all like super saver type yarn, but for some reason this yellow was much thinner than the green and orange that I had, and I was also playing a serious game of Yarn Chicken. So, and also because he's sour, he's not in a good mood, I just did a straight single crochet stitch here where I did not have enough yarn to do the ruffles, but I think it matches because he's lemon. He's grouchy. He's teenage boy. And I cannot wait to put those on the table together as my citrus turtle family. Definitely gonna make more over the next upcoming weeks. I want to make a watermelon, maybe strawberry, this size. I do have a little tiny, well, no, it's sold. But I want to make more, and I hopefully those will move, and I will have a reason to make more over the next couple of weeks. Next up is, okay, I say it's my pattern, but I feel like I'm lying a little bit because I very much used an existing pattern for a splitting giraffe as inspiration, and I did change. I mean, I just feel like it gets free. Like, I'm not going to charge anyone for it because I don't really feel like it's 100% my creation. And I tried to contact the person who published that pattern, and I just couldn't. Like, I don't think they responded within Ribbler. And then I tried on Instagram, and that person was like, no, that's not me. But anyway, this is my splitting llama. Mariana the Splitty Llama is her name on Ribbler, and I did publish this on Ribbler as a free pattern, and she's like, they're just so sweet. And I love the size. I know a lot of you guys do like the plush yarn, and your makes are really big. I don't like plush yarn. I love the tight stitch definition. I love small things. What's kind of funny is that people come up to my booth, and I hear it all the time. People are like, oh, I just love tiny things. I really like your stuff. So I'm like, I like small things too. So this is my splitting llama. You start with the nose, and then you color change to the body, and then you go all the way to the end. and then you make the legs. You just do a chain, and then you single crochet back up, but you end. Okay, so you do your chain, you do a bobble stitch, and then you go back up. Um, it's kind of a pain. I really want to figure out how to be a little bit more efficient, maybe surface crochet instead of like doing the legs separately. Like, I think I'm gonna figure out how to do that because, I made three. So one, two, these have the same ear tassels, and then this one has different tassels. So like multicolored yarn, variegated yarn that I wanted to use for the ear tassels. But after making 12 legs, I was pretty over it, especially when you do the color change and the bobble. I just gotta find an easier way to do this because I love these and they move. I had none at my last two markets. Maybe I just hadn't made any more. I had some they all sold, so really wanted to make more. And also, it's kind of nice too because when other crocheters come into my booth, I love talking to other crocheters, and in time I would like to be able to sell crochet hooks or what else was I thinking, like things for crocheters. Not quite there yet, but in time. But because people do ask like, where do you get your patterns, and I'm like, oh. And sometimes people will ask like, are these your patterns or do you use other people's? And I'm like, well, pretty much everything here is other people's patterns, but this one is mine. It's also kind of a selling point to be like, this is mine, you won't find it anywhere else. But of course, unless I like, use pattern that's published. But I do say, this is mine. It is baby safe because I just embroider little like closed eyes with eyelashes, and I just love these. These are so cute. So I made 3 of these. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna be able to. 1, 2. So cute. They're so cute. All right, I'm happy. It was a complete pain, and they took way too much time. Not particularly market friendly, but I couldn't help it. Really, the only market friendly thing that I made this week were the turtles. I think I'm gonna do 15 on the turtles and 15 on the llamas, and 40 for the hat, like I already said. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm spending way too much time and not paying myself an appropriate wage for the amount, for the number of hours that I am working to prep for this market. So then I just did some like super quick octos. Yep, there he is. This is just some chunky yarn. I like to buy my yarn from creative reuse centers. Please ignore that horrible mess behind me that is eventually going to get cleaned up. I have not done that yet, but over the next couple of weeks, hopefully my videos will become better. Please comment your feedback on my videos because I really want to do better, but I also just wanted to put something out this week. So this is some random chunky yarn that I either picked up buying up somebody's stash on Facebook Marketplace, or I picked it up at a creative reuse center. The one in my city sells yarn for $6 a pound, and when I go, I'm unhinged. I put, okay, this is pretty, and I put it in my basket. I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do with it, but it is super fun to bring it home and then figure okay, this made a good octo. And it's just plain safety eyes because this guy's only going to be like $8. And then this is new, and I really like how it turned out, putting the little white stitch as a little eye highlight because this yarn is so dark, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see it. And then I made his little smile. So cute. Just a little tiny guy. I'm just going to do like 8 on this one. And then I made a second one, again, chunky yarn. No idea. It feels like it's fuzzy like acrylic, and I think it burned like acrylic when I was trying to defuzz it a little bit. And this yarn was a little fiddly, like it wanted to split because it's like 4 strands that are twirled together. So I used the yarn from this guy on the tentacles because when you start doing the decreases and everything, like I really didn't want to, like you do a round in the front loops, and then you use the back loops to make the bottom. That can get real fussy, so I know. But I really like how this turned out, being 2 colors. This octopus pattern that I use is Sweet Softies. I think a lot of people use it, but if you are not familiar, I will put a link in the description. So that takes me to my last thing this week. My shop is called Sunflower&Owl, and as of my 2 markets ago, I had no owls. At one point, I had so many, and I was still trying to settle on one pattern. I really have a really bad habit of always looking for new patterns, and then things take too long, and I'm just really trying to batch things, and I think it just looks more professional in a market that I have this turtle family. I have 3 and they're the same pattern, and I knew what I was doing. Same thing with the llamas. I mean, I only got 2 octos. I was kind of done after those 2. But I think, well, I found a pattern that I like. Not market friendly, again, took too long. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get faster. And I'm going to show you this pattern. At first, I'm reading it and I'm like, is this AI generated? But then I keep reading, and then there's a couple of misspellings. So I'm like, no, this is not AI generated, but I'm pretty confident that the author of this blog is not a native English speaker, which is totally cool. I mean, I appreciate you using English to make these blog posts available with free crochet patterns. But once you get past that, it's fine. Just for example, instead of feet, it said paws, and I'm like, owl. Would you refer to paws on an owl? And then a couple times it tells you to knit, and I'm like, but this is crochet. But if you can get past that, it's actually a pretty great pattern. So I started. I got the idea from Southern Gal Crochet to use tweed yarn to make an owl. I never thought of that before, and I have had this Dollar Tree Premier. Is it the Twin Premier? I think it is the Just Tweed. And so that's what I used for the body. The gold, I know, okay, it actually had the band on it. I think it's Lion brand, and it's called Amigurumi, and it's thin, but it is wonderful if you like to make tiny things with a size 2.5 hook. But the colors are super vibrant, and it came in a cake with 4 colors that just coordinated so beautifully. I have no idea if that yarn is discontinued or not, but I loved it. I haven't found it in a store, so I really don't know, but I would love to find it again. But I do know that this gold is that amigurumi yarn. So the body, so cute. You start with the body, and it's bottom up, and so for the body, I messed this up so many times. Even on the 3rd one, I was like, and so it ended up frogging a couple of times. This bottom part you do in concentric circles. So you end each row with the slip stitch and the chain 1 and the single crochet into the same, and oh, I don't even see the scar. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, there. That's inevitable, but the wing covers it up pretty well. So this part is the concentric circles, which I understand is necessary because you've got 3 bobbles and then 5 bobbles and then another row of 5 bobbles. So these line up beautifully. But you got to remember to do this concentric circles, and then when you get to the head, you do the head in spirals. So I would finish one and then start another one, and because I was already working in spirals, I would just just start crocheting in spirals, and then frogging 20 minutes worth of work. But I think it was worth it. This is just okay. So you do the eyes, and the eyes have kind of this scallop on them. So you do the magic ring in 6 and then 12, and then this is slip stitch chain 2 around to give this a scallop look. I would love, if I do this pattern, like if I decide I'm going to get faster at this pattern, I would love to do like sunflower colors and actually make like a sunflower owl, like the name of my shop. Um, I have tried to make a sunflower owl before, like on a belly patch. I'm still working on that. Actually, I do have kind of like an ornament, but I don't even take it to markets anymore because no one picks it up. It's only cute to me. Um, but you make the eyes, and you make the wings. So the wings is just a circle, and then you flatten it and single. Actually, ended up deciding it was faster to sew across the top. It's what I liked about this pattern is like where you start the increases for where the body becomes the head. I mean, it was just really easy to know exactly where to place the wings, and then the wings touch a flat surface, so it helps him from falling over. I did not put any plastic pellets, just because I try to save those for things that are really top heavy. I didn't want to use them up. And I actually, I don't think I have any more trouser socks either to, like put the pellets in. So I only used polyfill and there's some yarn scraps in here too. All right, so you do the eyes, you do the wings. This was the first one that I did, and you surface crochet these eyebrows, which the instructions were a little bit hard to follow, and I do tight stitches, so it was a little bit tricky to put these surface stitches in there. And I was like, yeah, no, this is nice, but I think there's an easier way. And also, I kind of didn't fully understand the instructions for the beak and the feet. So the beak I just ended up embroidering on, and then these are leggy froggy feet, where you chain 4, and then I single crochet 3 back, chain 4, and then back 3 times. I think that worked perfectly fine, and then I just kind of like use the tails to tie them on. I am very happy with those feet. So the first one I did, that was lucky of me to pick up this one first. This was according to the directions, but I decided I needed to do something to save time. For my second one, I actually kind of think I like this better anyway. I just did little tufties. I just took a piece of yarn, folded it in half, inserted it, into a stitch, and tied a knot, snip. So he just has these little like tufties for ears. I think I like this better. I think I like the little golden pop on his head too. And then I wanted to an extra. I think I was getting low on this yarn, but I also picked this up, God knows when, at the Creative Reuse Center. I had this tweed yarn too, and he is just so cute. Love it. So this one I used a size 4 hook because this yarn's a little bit chunkier. This one I used a 3.5, but the size difference isn't really that big. I ended up doing an extra round on the eyes and not doing the scallop because I knew this one was going to have a little bit bigger head, but it worked out. So that is what I made this week. All week long I've been saying this really isn't much, but now that I'm looking at it, okay, so I got the hat, I got my 3 llamas. My car is packed for the market tomorrow, everything but what I made this week, so I'm just gonna had all this week's makes sitting in this basket in a corner of my desk. This is just gonna go to the market with me. I'll put tags on it in the morning. Got my 3 llamas, my 3 turtles. This is just super. The head color is a loops and threads yarn, but it is very similar to Super Saver. I'm pretty sure that's what all of these are. Pretty sure this yellow was pretty vintage, and I will probably discuss it in some future videos, but I bought 2 tubs of yarn, like 2, tubs of yarn for $50 on Facebook Marketplace, and I didn't realize just how old it was. It's got to be like from the 80s. I mean, the price stickers were like 89 cents. I think this yellow is actually from those bins, and so that might be why it it's so much. This might just be a very, very old version of Super Saver, but I'm pretty sure it had the band on it. I'm pretty sure it said Super Saver. But I kind of like how you got Mom and Daddy and Sun and Bad Mood, and my 2 octos and my 3 owls. Thank you so much. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate you watching and taking an interest in what I made this week. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. This is my first video, so let me see how many people watch it. I certainly consume enough crochet content while I'm crocheting. I am usually watching another crocheter, and I really love it when people do the What I Made This Week videos. I love market cap videos. I love your yarn hoard videos, and as you can see, I kind of have a problem too, and it's a mess. I know it's a mess. Hopefully that is something that I want to get done over the next couple of months, is a nicer background. But thank you for watching. Hopefully it is a successful market tomorrow, and early next week I'll do a market recap. So until then, thank you and goodbye.